Jamal Musiala was playing against RB Leipzig on Saturday, and then he fainted to the floor after he came on. On Tuesday, he was playing again against Hindenburg, and then he went down again, and then he was aided to get off the pitch. After that, he issued a statement to tell everybody, his fans and all football-loving fans across the globe, that he's okay and he's doing well. Then he threw more light on his medical condition. He says that he has been diagnosed with absence seizure, and I'll throw more light on that. I'll give more details to what absence seizure is and what the future holds for player Jamal Musiala. So Jamal Musiala was born in Stuttgart, but then he relocated to London immediately. You know, his father is a half British, half Nigerian, and then his mother is a German. You understand? His mother is a German. So somewhere in 2019, at the heart of the Brexit, when Britain was exiting from the European Union, his mother was uncertain about whether or not she would be able to still continue to live and work in the UK. So they decided to relocate to Germany in 2019. He was then 16 years, and then he had the opportunity to play Bayern Munchen, and from there he has become Bayern Munchen's one of their topmost players. Today, he is one of the highest paid players in Bayern Munchen, tied with Harry Kane on the same pay grade. Unfortunately, I label Jamal Musiala as the unlucky player. I think we should all concede that Jamal Musiala has been very unlucky. Like, he's one of the few people football is going to treat them very badly. When we all saw that Marco van Basten had won 3 Ballon d'Ors and he had to retire very early, somewhere in his 20s, very early, we were sad for the player. We were sad that an illustrious career was coming to an end. But what Jamal Musiala is showing us now is even more dangerous and more sad to notice, that a player with so much prospects at the age of 23 but has suffered too much. Look, Jamal Musiala ended the 2024-2025 season with an injury in April. Yes, he got an injury in April. Then a week after that, he was involved in a traffic accident. He was involved in a heavy accident, very dangerous accident, and he had to wait to get back. The luck is that he magically got fit for the FIFA Club World Cup in 2025 in North America to come and feature. Then he collided with Gianluigi Donnarumma, and then he got injured. It was a serious injury. He had a broken foot. When you go and read, they will tell you, oh, fractured tibula. I mean, he had a broken foot, had to stay off for almost 7 months. Not just that one, he also had a dislocated shoulder. 2 very dangerous injuries. And for a player of his caliber, you know, players who hold onto balls, it is easy to have repeated dislocated shoulder, because then you are always being hassled, you are always being tackled hard in the game. It is very bad. I think for his age, he has suffered too much. After he returned after missing 196 days, almost 7 months off, he didn't end there. He had to play from January through to the World Cup with a metal plate in his foot. You understand? So, you know, as the foot was broken, it had to be, he underwent surgery, and then they had to hold it up with a metal. So it had to be there for him to play for 6 months. And just recently, he got it removed somewhere in July, before beginning training for the World Cup. So that is why Bayern Munchen says that because of that minor surgery to remove the metal plate from his foot, he had not been training properly with the first team. But you see, let us talk about absence seizure. So absence seizure is a condition of the brain, okay, which is characterized by brief, sudden lapse in consciousness. So somebody may be there, then at once the person will lose consciousness at once. You understand? So you see, the functioning of the brain is in a way that the brain has to keep the person to be focused, and so the person to be active. When somebody is asleep, it is something of the brain. It is the brain that causes the person to sleep. You understand? The absence of the brain that causes the person to sleep. And so lack of consciousness that arise out of this particular absence seizure. Now, you know, there are lots of seizures, and you see seizures are, let me say, miniature epilepsy. Seizures are small epilepsy, you understand? But usually it is the same specialists who look at all of these conditions. But you know, so most of epilepsy starts as seizure. Then along the line, then it becomes diagnosed epilepsy. But there are lots of people who have been diagnosed with seizure and they never got epilepsy. Let us put that one on record. That is why when Jamal Musiala says it is treatable, to some extent, I agree with him. It is treatable. There's even a rugby player who's been playing with seizure. He even has epilepsy at a point in time, but then he's been put on proper drugs and he's doing so well and he's still playing. But the issue with Jamal Musiala is so much critical that we are all scared for the player and we are sad at the same time. But I am happy he was able to walk out of the stadium on his own, because for a seizure like what he describes, it is just momentary, usually 10 to 15 seconds, or 15 to 30 seconds. You know, the typical and the atypical types, that's the difference, the timing, 10 to 15 seconds, 15 seconds to 30 seconds, and usually they lose their memory of the incident. So when they come back, when they snap back, they do not remember what happened just seconds ago. And so it's a state where the mind freezes, the mind freezes. And so at that point in time, the person becomes blank for some seconds, and it's a neurological disorder in the mind. It just has to be it just has to be fixed gradually. Now, the issue is that absence seizure doesn't happen just like that. It has triggers, circumstances, conditions that lead to the episode happening. So it's just like any brain damage or any brain condition. They have seizures when the brain is exposed to certain environment, certain elements of our environment, then it gets triggered. We ought to understand that. For somebody like Jamal Musiala and the condition he is having, the absence seizure, it's mostly caused by two particular conditions or situations: hyperventilation and dehydration. So, for example, if you are gasping for air, you are breathing hard, pulling your lungs, forcing your lungs to get in air. That's when you are likely to get it. Then the other one is when you are dehydrated. You know, when you run up and down and then your temperature is high, the body, you sweat so much and the body loses its stock of water immediately. Now it can lead to this particular absence seizure. So that is why playing in a hot stadium and all of that will not be helpful for Jamal Musiala and his health. See, there's a very big problem. And the problem is that this is a young guy who we were all looking up to. I remember the Euro 2024 semi-final. Peter Drury said, is this game going to be between Lamine Yamal or Jamal? Because at that point, we knew he was the face of the German national team, a rising star we are all looking up to. And just like that, you see how the career has been stressing up. But you see, he has to play. He wants to play. Nobody can convince Jamal Musiala that he should not play. That's why in a statement he says that I have taken full responsibility of what has happened, and I want to play. Like, he wants to continue to play, because the point is that as human beings, the sociologists have told us that we take some time exploring ourselves to understand our purpose on earth. It is very important for every human being to understand his or her purpose on earth. And when you find that purpose, you commit yourself to doing it till you die. And so the realization at the age of 23 that he will never be able to play football is something that he can never accept. And so even under these conditions, he still wants to play. And I do not fault him for that. He can still play under very serious conditions. even before disclosing this particular condition, Bayern Munchen are taking steps to go and buy Ismail Saibari for 50 million euros to bring him in during the World Cup, because they knew that based on his fitness record, even without the seizure by then, now based on just his fitness record and injury record, it was likely that he was going to sit on the sidelines for most of the time. And so they took steps to bring in Ismail Saibari to take charge of the number 10 role for Bayern Munchen. And so it's something Bayern had been expecting. But I have a question. Is it that he had been diagnosed way long before and then Bayern decided to take proactive steps? Let me stick to his injuries and say maybe they bought Ismail Saibari because of his injuries. But let me hear from you in the comment section. What do you think? Whether Bayern Munchen was aware of his condition and then they decided to take proactive steps to make sure his absence was heavily covered, or they did not know at all, or they did not know by then when they were signing Ismail Saibari. Now, the problem now is that at what point can Bayern Munchen be bold enough to put him back on the pitch? Because putting him back on the pitch means putting him in harm's way. There is no way anybody can play football without breathing hard, running, sweating, dehydrating. There is no way. So there has to be a way for him to balance if he wants to play and still remain safe. So at what point can Bayern put him on the pitch without absorbing liabilities for it, without being culpable, without being legally exposed? Because if they do that, even the German FA will come after them, the Bundesliga will come after them, and all of that. There's a way he can play. Jamal Musiala can play under certain specific conditions. Number one, when they put him on seizure control drugs. And I think he's already on such drugs. That's why he said they are managing it as under control. But I don't think we can really rely on these ones at this point in time that it has happened again. I'm thinking they have to do more, put him on further treatment, and then be able to control it absolutely. Then to manage the triggers, to have a separate design. So, teams have specific design for hydration. They should have a specific one for Jamal Musiala. Secondly, they should be mindful of the kind of temperatures under which Musiala plays in. So, for example, it's a Champions League night and they are playing in Scandinavia. You can put Jamal Musiala in because Scandinavia is very cold. They are playing in Ukraine. You can put him on because the place is very cold. Maybe it is an evening Bundesliga game. Germany, yes, in Germany, they can put him in. But certain times in the afternoon, mid-morning, no, some of these times they cannot put Jamal Musiala on the pitch because they will create trouble for themselves and for the players' health. Finally, Bayern Munchen has to include in their medical team individuals who understand seizure treatment, individuals who have a little bit of background in neurology. So you may not have a specialized neurologist or neurosurgeon to be dedicated to be on the pitch full time, unless probably the person already has passion in the game. But they have individuals who have some kind of knowledge and experience in managing such crisis, and that person will be part of the medical team before Jamal Musiala can play. And it is very important. The specialist would also have to write a clearance to Bayern Munchen that they can put Jamal Musiala on the pitch, else they can never put him on the pitch again. That is why Uli Hoeneß, the president of Bayern Munchen, when he was speaking after the incident, he said that they are aware of the incident. Now, they were even given a clearance by the specialist that they can put Jamal Musiala on the pitch. He specifically said that the specialist said it was safe for Jamal Musiala to perform in high performance sports. It is only under this condition that they can put Jamal Musiala on the pitch. And even now, we all have to ask questions of the of the specialist, that what did he see, under what condition, what did he understand before he decided to issue the clearance for Bayern Munchen to put Jamal Musiala on the pitch. He has to answer these questions. He has to come and explain why. Because based on that, based on his treatment from Saturday, it ought not to happen again. That is why the player is free to come and play again, if that is the case. So why has it happened again? He has to explain. For putting Jamal Musiala in danger, he has to explain. To be at the mercy of players, halt the game. So what if there was no player close to him? I mean, why? You see, this is a very serious issue. And so, for me, I think if he has to play, these conditions would have to be met before he can come back to the pitch. Get well soon, Jamal Musiala. You've been an idol, right from Chelsea, from the academy of Chelsea to Bayern Munchen to the German national team. You've been rock solid. We know what you can do. No matter what, we know you are a great player. You are an exceptional talent. And we wish you very well. And we hope to see you on the pitch again under the right and safe circumstances. This is ASK Morgan Sports. Thank you for listening to us. Please like the video and follow us on TikTok. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube and go to the comment section and tell us what you think about our work. Thank you so much. We've gotten a lot of followers and we don't take that for granted. You have made it happen. Thank you so much.